Yes, he told the people on the 88th floor, the 87th floor.
Coming soon on NTV.
Tenga tugenzeeko mu byemizannyo, ttiimu ya Liverpool ezze ku ntiko ya liigi ya Bungereza oluvannyuma lw'okuba bwe bali kumbiranye aba Manchester City ku ggoolo 3-2. Bangi ku bawagizi ba Liverpool batandise okwebalira ku kikopo kya sizoni eno wadde ng'ekyabulayo emipiira 5 liigi eno ebengeggwako.
With the touch that came to Suarez, and he's bounced off Clichy, and he's fed it through here for Sterling. Raheem Sterling! 1-0 Liverpool! Reach out and touch it! It's a generation since the Kop was this loud. Gerrard again, score goal! Liverpool closer and closer. Roll back the years and look to the immediate future. Milner. Fernandinho, Milner, it's a lovely exchange, it's in. David Silva has Manchester City right back in the thick of the battle. Milner, Silva, Nasri, Silva. It's gone in! Mignolet's dismay. Liverpool's collective dismay. The Kop's disbelief. Roll up your sleeves and go again. Clichy's throw. Clichy got some of it. That's weak from Company. Coutinho! They've got again! Company's gift! Coutinho gobbled it up! And from potential collapse, Liverpool build again!
NTV ku ssawemu awalungi tebawawa nnyo omujaguzi olekkeevuga mu kibuga nokkiira ekibira gye wazimba akayumbako. Nze Patrick Mukasa, sula bulungi, bweraba.
NTV, turning on your world. Today's highlight with
New geisha with extracts from Mother Nature.
Meters. It's K2. Oh my God, we're going to K2.
It's a chance of a lifetime.
Chance of a lifetime to get yourself killed.
You're gonna have to go without me. I sold them on us. Me and you. I just can't go. Can't. It's bullshit. My wife and my kid and my job are not bullshit.
My mom always wants what's best for us. That's why she uses new geisha with extracts from nature. New geisha with extracts from Mother Nature.
And the change of government won't stop a thing. I've run out of fingers counting the number of multinationals setting up here.
What about the 3 companies that announced their plans to launch last week?
I say they're shortly. Me, I'd be looking to sell.
At what price?
More. Much, much more.
I don't know who you are or how you know these things, but one thing I'm sure of, you're in the wrong job. Here, call me tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'd like to hear more from you.
Are you ready for your big break? The East African, understanding the region.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
I do not know about you, but as for me, when I get home, I take some sleeping pills. And within what seems like half an hour of unconsciousness, it feels like Monday all over again. But some people say that Monday is the start of a new week that brings with it blessings and opportunities 52 times a year. If that's the same attitude you have, welcome to Morning at NTV, because this is definitely what we believe. It's going to be 2 hours of amazing information, entertainment, education. You on board, Mabel Kebirunji, Joel and Kasiate, and of course Isma here to make sure that your Monday is going to be awesome. Welcome back from Palm Sunday. In a couple of days, Jesus will be resurrecting. Are you ready for history? Let's get started with the question of the day. Surely today's question is very easy. You know the team. Arsenal, Chitegera. But help us answer that question. The first 5 respondents will each walk away with a mag from Morning at NTV. And of course, use Facebook, Morning at NTV. Our Twitter is also open at Morning at NTV. And of course, the SMS platform 6565. You can also tag us individually at MBGold2, at Kasiate, at Joel Senyonyi, at Mebkeb, and at Dakabachigongo. Feel free to tag at NTV Uganda. You can hashtag Easter this week. And let's head over to Mabel, who is standing by at the International Conference Center at the NTV studios with the stories that are making headlines this Monday morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Brian, and a very good morning to you too at the start of a new week or at the start of a new blessing, as Brian said. But on to some of the stories that are making headlines. Museveni rallies Ugandans to register for the national IDs. The Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I beg your pardon, summons the Belgian envoy to Uganda, and UNATU calls off a strike that it announced on Friday.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
President Museveni has rallied Ugandans to turn up in large numbers today, to register for the national ID cards across the country. Museveni, who was speaking at a news conference at State House in Nakasero, said the identity cards will rid the country of electoral malpractices in 2016. Solomon Seranja reports.
More than 4 years after the National Identity Card project was shelved, government says that the registration exercise will kick off in earnest tomorrow. Speaking during a news conference at State House in Nakasero, President Museveni said that the massive registration exercise will kick off tomorrow at parishes across the country.
The registrar at the parish will be the enroller, who will handle the registration kit, and an assistant enroller, citizenship verifiers, who are the parish internal security officer, PISO, the LOC1 chairman, and the LOC2 chairman in some bigger parishes, local council officials, and the village elder.
Museveni said the identity cards will cure the prevalent election malpractices, including multiple voting.
I find it impossible that 600,000 people in Kampala had registered but did not come to vote, because especially for presidential elections, almost everybody turns up. That is the same story with Wakiso. So it seems these registrations, especially for those who don't have enough support in the country, and you know who they are, it seems they really do a lot of paper registration of air to give themselves the room for rigging.
Citing the 1962 election, the president gave evidence on how the rigging was executed.
At that time, we were voting at 21 years. And by that time, I was 18, so I didn't vote, because me, I didn't want to cheat. Katega, who was selected older by 1 year, was 19, who voted. So he voted as an underage, but also voted 8 times. So it's very dangerous. It can cause trouble in the country.
Museveni also scoffed at the opposition, saying the usage of the identity cards will put an end to false accusations.
They boast to each other. Somebody says, "I've got more cows than you." Another one says, "I've got more cows than you." Then one of the people said, "Okay, we shall see when the cows come for water. We shall see what's got more." So you don't have to quarrel. Now that these machines are here, we are going to see which group has got more support.
This was President Museveni's subtle answer when he was asked whether he will seek the presidency in 2016. Museveni said that the citizenry will have the first priority to get national identity cards. The card, which will expire in 10 years, will be mandatory for any Ugandan to access any services, including banking, healthcare, education, travel, among others. Uganda becomes the last country in the East African bloc to produce national identity cards for its citizens. Solomon Serwanja, NTV.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs recently summoned the Belgian envoy to Uganda after diplomatic row between the president's security detail and Belgium authorities unfolded in Brussels. That incident took place early this month during the president's visit to Belgium to attend the African-European Union summit. Museveni hurriedly left Brussels after his security was not given the green light to inspect the armored vehicle he had been given by the host country.
From their neatly dressed military garb to their sophisticated guns and the unbridled security detail to the president, the elite special forces command's role is to keep President Museveni out of harm's way. For a leader who wields a lot of clout in the volatile Great Lakes region, Museveni is one of the most guarded. However, during a recent visit to Brussels to attend a European Union Africa summit, the host country refused to play to the security rules of engagement. Whereas the summit was meant to galvanize relations and for the AU to keep the immensely resource-rich Africa from other potential suitors, what later unfolded perhaps suggests otherwise. Highly placed sources told NTV that a diplomatic spat unfolded when the Belgian authorities refused to allow the president's security guards to inspect the vehicle he had been given during his stay. According to practice, the president's guards always inspect the vehicle he travels in when he is abroad, but the Belgian authorities remained adamant, an incident which vexed the president. This embarrassing diplomatic spat comes at a time when the West continues to criticize the president for passing the anti-homosexuality bill. Amid this resentment, now we also understand that he did not attend the summit, but instead delegated Honorable Sam Kutesa, Minister for Foreign Affairs, to attend it. The incident in the Belgian capital spilled over here upon the president's return. Last week, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs wrote a protest note and summoned the Belgian envoy to Kampala to explain why authorities in his country embarrassed the president. Speaking to NTV by telephone, Foreign Affairs Permanent Secretary Ambassador James Mugume said it's true the Belgian ambassador was summoned.
This incident, yes, it took place, but the Belgian authorities have already apologized and regretted the incident, so we think we take it as a security incident which we have accepted the apologies and regret.
It is not clear yet whether this incident was carefully weighed to target certain African leaders. Kenya's Uhuru Kenyatta nearly missed the summit after Belgian authorities delayed to give the head of his presidential security, Edwin Bugwa, a travel visa. Sheila Tuchere, NTV.
The Uganda National Teachers Union has called off a strike that it announced on Friday to protest against the delay by Kampala's capital city authority to pay some of its teachers' salaries. The turnaround follows a pledge by City Hall authorities of paying the salaries within a week's time. Francis Jingo reports.
Officials of Kampala Capital City Authority, along with leaders of Uganda National Teachers Union, have agreed to call off a strike that was slated for tomorrow over the delay in receiving salaries.
The salaries of teachers be paid latest next week. If they don't respect the awards, our teachers are there. If by next week the salaries are not there, yes.
The two parties reached the amicable settlement after holding protracted negotiations to have teachers paid before the end of next week.
That all teachers, including their arrears, I repeat, including their arrears, is paid by next week.
We had to do the salaries first. Now we are moving into the process of verifying the arrears for payment purposes. And we hope that all the arrears will be paid by May.
The Teachers Union announced a sit-down strike on Friday and plan to pitch camp at State Hall tomorrow to protest against the delayed salaries. KCCA says the delay was brought about by the validation of the decentralized payroll to weed out ghosts.
But we did not find actual ghosts on the payroll. The teachers whom we deleted from the payroll are teachers who were transferred to other districts.
However, the deletion of names of teachers who had been transferred from Kampala to other districts could pose another crisis. The United officials acknowledge the possibility of some teachers getting double pay, while others whose names are not yet on the payroll in the new districts could go for months without salaries. It remains unclear how many teachers have been deleted from the Kampala Capital City Authority payroll. The planned strike would affect schools in Kampala, Wakiso and Bushenyi.
Now for the case of Wakiso, 2 months have not been paid. So we are calling upon them to go to their district and they demand for their salaries.
Jingo Francis, NTV.
Uganda and its stories of ghosts never seem to end. Well, that's all we had for you in this morning bulletin. We now head over to the Kampala Serena Hotel rooftop to Brian, Simon and Joel to find out what's making news in the press. Press review
is brought to you by
Uganda Telecom. It's all about you.
It's a wonderful start to the Holy Week according to the Christian calendar. This is the week when, indeed, they call it the Passion of Christ, and that's the basis on which Christianity stands as we move towards the death of the Messiah and his eventual resurrection after 3 days in the tomb. It's a Monday morning, the 13th day of April, or should I say the 14th day of April, 2014, and we're coming to you live from the rooftop of the Kampala Serena Hotel with Morning at NTV's Press Review. My name is Simon Kasiate. I'm joined by Brian Molondo and Joel Senyonyi. Good morning, good people, and how is the start to the Holy Week?
Bonjour, messieurs. Quel est ton nom? Comment vous appelez-vous?
Tout le monde ici parle l'anglais seulement.
Pierre bien. Yeah, oui. I began learning French, so I'm using every opportunity to try and practice. Oh yes.
So I want to go back and also learn French. I can speak German. Just
Ich spreche Deutsch.
Now this guy began forgery.
You know the best place to learn a language is certainly not a school, possibly
without
a
a doubt.
pillow. And of course, you know the first words to learn the language is either how to greet, how to ask for water, and of course how to abuse.
Even how to say I love you.
That too could be an abuse depending on who you're telling it to. Well, this morning we are looking at the Daily Monitor newspaper. We are looking at the red paper, not yet able to get our copy of the Observer. But here we have it. All of you, wake up, rise and shine, and go get yourself an ID. Yes, the mass registration for national IDs begins today. Not yesterday, not tomorrow. Today, I have it on good information that the Minister of Internal Affairs, General Aronda Nyakairima, has been in a meeting up to 2 a.m. this morning trying to put the final touches onto this wonderful exercise, which President Museveni, according to the Daily Monitor here, is calling upon all Ugandans to hit the call and go register. This card is non-partisan, it's non-discriminatory on creed, color, or anything, for as long as you're Ugandan and above the age of 16.
For many Ugandans, they will be skeptical. We've seen several attempts to get us IDs. Billions of shillings have been used, and then how many I will get an ID for the Prime Minister and the President. Then more billions used, we get IDs for about 10 people. And now we have 285 billion shillings going to be sunk into this 2-year project. I hope it works. I want to be as optimistic as can be.
Let's be as optimistic as we are about ourselves. I mean, many of these Ugandans who are skeptical now, their parents have pumped in loads of money to their education. Some of them failed their primary leaving, then they attempted hard, then they failed their O-level, then they attempted first, did not even make it to HSC.
That's different.
Wait a minute, but somehow they have made ends meet and they are now reasonable, responsible citizens whom their parents thought they could be. So perhaps also these falls, you know, you're Christian, you know that it's not so much how many times you fall, but how you're able to raise up from every fall.
No, like but you see, this kind of fall is a different one, where billions of shillings are sunk into a project and work is not done. Somebody has got to take responsibility because it's taxpayers' money we are talking about. It's different from I've failed at something in life and then I get up again and that kind of thing. Yeah, but you see, the point is I may try out mathematics and it does not work. I try out something else. It's totally different, I would say.
We tried fingerprinting of one finger. It did not work. Now we are looking at all the fingers and possibly even the nose.
And then you produce 2 IDs after using how much money? It's just
I want to give a benefit.
Come on, let's talk about the president's ID. You think the president's ID would cost the same amount as
well, yeah, I can't use it.
So it was big, so they had to use large print formatting. But I want to give the government benefit of the doubt. And we hosted the guys from, Internal Affairs the other day, and they were explaining to us how it's going to work. This is a test for government, and I know right now we will get this project going because, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, he is a very optimistic
Correct me if I'm wrong, because the government needs especially 16-year-olds to vote.
That's quite a very important.
Well, so we will get this project.
Let's not forget that I did dare the officials from the ministry.
You feel...
I was, and it was
because the government wants 16-year-olds to vote.
Well, why are you giving? Why aren't we also giving 10-year-olds?
The voting age.
Well, that 16-year-olds will be 18 years in 2016.
Oh, that's very
obviously they will vote the NRM. So it was a
let's hope it works. I do hope it works as a Ugandan. I'm just disappointed that you see
I think let's take it upon ourselves, folks, as ambassadors of this program who are listened to and watched by hundreds of thousands, perhaps even millions. We need to lead by example. I personally am going to look out for
I hope I'll not be bounced.
Well, being the non-Ugandan that you are, of course, you need to explain.
Come on, I come from Nakasongola. I'm more Ugandan than is needed.
I am going to make an effort by the end of the week.
You know their culture chief is called Mogeza Butamanye, very nice friend of mine.
Yeah, but then you know
in the Daily Monitor
we are going to produce the next president of this country.
Why is it called Mogeza Butamanye?
I have no idea.
We're not going to the nomenclature of chiefs here, but let's not forget that in the Daily Monitor this morning, there's an interesting story of hope that is playing out on page 3 that played out in the Rainbow magazine last week of an HIV-positive girl who has, for all accounts, been neglected not only by her own father, but by the stigma that befell her when she realized she was HIV-positive and on the verge of falling out of school. There's been a lot of tremendous response from you, the readers of the Daily Monitor, to the effect that now hope is beginning to come her way. She possibly go back to school where she intends to become a medical doctor someday.
Page 3 still reiterates the story of IDs. We could dwell a little on this, but there's something I'm seeing here, how to register. And they say the registration will be at parish or village level, and the parish chief, parish internal security officer, local councils, and an elder will help with conclusive determination of those.
Parish internal security. Piso.
So I'm thinking if none of these guys says you are Ugandan, most probably you will not get an ID. I hope we are going to be organized.
Is the Piso the defense? What defense?
I totally have no clue. But you know, these are the guys who are meant to give a green light for you to go ahead and get an ID. They will say this one is Ugandan.
Well, they always do, even when it comes to matters of, say, your passport. You've got to have a part. There is a part on the form where you've got to take them to these people. Also in the Daily Monitor, an interesting story here going by yesterday's celebrations. 1,000s mark Kabaka Ronald Mwenda Mutebi's 59th birthday in Butambala yesterday. Let's not forget that April is a very special month for very important people. Let's not forget that the Kabaka of Buganda is born in April, so is Kabamba Iguru. Now notice the first names, KK, and of course yours truly, Kasiate himself, and then the Crown of England. Now
Kasiate. Yeah, I also know a guy called Kulazi Kulave. But you know, he looks young. He looks younger than Molondo here, who is But anyway, as
the fascinating thing is that he jogs every morning, which
he doesn't wake up very early morning to come here and make noise.
Until he didn't work.
Well, I think it's only fair that we also at Morning at NTV do wish His Royal Highness the very best of his 59th birthday.
Right.
And of course, you know that yesterday NTV did play a very epic role in the broadcast of the celebrations from Butambala. We always lead where others follow.
Yeah.
Account for NRM cash, locals tell their legislator. This is playing out in Rengo district where, yes, as we told you some time back, members of parliament were given some money to go around their constituencies, popularizing the move to have President Yoweri Museveni as the sole candidate for the NRM. Now locals in Rengo are saying, Madam Member of Parliament, where is the money you were given to mobilize us?
Actually, they're saying we want facilitation for our transport, facilitation for our lunch. And truth is, this money is actually meant for that, because literally they already know what this program is about, this whole candidacy campaign.
Project.
Well, refugees, on the other hand, are selling sex to survive. This is a new study report by the Refugee Law Project, which has found that many refugee women and girls in Kampala are engaged in sex as a survival strategy, which leads to physical, psychological, and emotional abuse. Okay, we are not necessarily the very best of people, but when you start procuring sex from a refugee, clearly then you have a point, because many of them don't even speak the language that you're speaking. So anyway, like someone said, the language of love.
But aren't the refugees,
but you've seen these guys
buying sex from each other?
Oh, there's that too. There's that too.
If they have the money. But you see, when you talk about somebody approaching a refugee, I'll tell you, men, I don't know what is wrong with us. You'll find a little girl on the street, she's even crippled and so on. And men,
the other day,
they predate on these little girls. It is just not right.
You know, literally, grandmother, more than 100 years, was raped, gang raped. It's
by youth.
It's disgusting. But
someone may want to justify that with the youth that because of lack of employment. Heck.
Yeah.
Teachers demand arrears. This is a story that could play out any time in our past or even in the future. Teachers demand arrears. In fact, the Daily Monitor should keep this as just a standard template and keep using it every week, because for sure, teachers will continue demanding arrears. One wonders why.
But KCCA says they sorted out the salaries and they should sort out the arrears too by May.
But you see,
let's say
that by May, why should things be done that when somebody has done a job, pay them, pay them.
On the other hand, the Opposition Forum for Democratic Change President General Muntu is urging people in Bunyoro to press for oil rights. Now, is that the rights of oil or the rights of the people in the oil grabbing? This is only what you will discover when you read a copy of the Daily Monitor with this story.
In the red paper, Kasiate, we all know the big project NADS, and the president once advised that he's going to stop this and go back to the basics, build it again. Well, the State Minister for Agriculture in charge of fisheries, Nankabirwa, says NADS bosses will face the knife. And this NADS coordinator has made the project to suffer right from its inception, and they have continued to register fake farmer groups. And as a ministry, we cannot allow this to continue.
The interesting bit about NADS is their physical visibility. There is no part in this country where you traverse and do not see a NADS signpost.
Yeah, the signposts are there. Those ones they have
very important. Yeah, from where I sit as
whether
a communications
or not
person,
delivery on ground is another
at least
issue.
They have given themselves some great visibility, and you of course you know that there is no bad visibility. Visibility is visibility, whichever way you look at it.
I find it odd that the minister seems to realize this years later. She's saying they will face the knife. I want to see them face the knife, as opposed to the promise of they will face the knife.
Yes.
Look, NADS has been, entangled in all this rapacity. For some reason, we find it hard to get value for our money in this country. That is why I'm troubled about the ID project. I am hopeful it will kick off, but you see, once bitten, twice shy, and I don't know.
No, your skepticism is well grounded, and indeed there the officials from the Ministry of Internal Affairs, when they were here last week,
Pamela Nkuda said immediately, this one we are going to pull it off. I said,
we still have their audio clippings and visual clippings, and we'll take them to task.
Yeah,
when at the end of it
we have video clippings right from 1986 where people made certain promises. To date, they've not fulfilled them. We have them here in our archives. So,
well, there we are talking of which NRM is a religion without priests. So says the high priest himself, the Pope, President Yoweri Museveni, or Pontifex, so to speak. And this was a message he passed on to the resident district commissioners as they conclude their retreat in Chankwanzi, imploring them to be those priests of the NRM. He gave them a Herculean task to ensure that land grabbing is a thing of the past. I still have not yet been able to understand this whole issue of land, where there is willing buyer, willing seller, and at the end of the day, willing seller wants to grab the land from the guy that he bought it from. I have a personal experience, and that's why I'm already singing praises to my friend Enanga, who has not yet delivered my land, but certainly one day I'll get it.
You see, the other day I was telling you that these RDCs are going to Chankwazi to be indoctrinated, and you see it playing out there. Who are these guys going to serve? Are they going to serve Ugandans?
No, they are representatives of the president, and yes,
of the president, not of the chairman of the NRA.
Yes. But remember, of course, you know, there is a little dividing line, if at all, between the president of the country and the party president. But you know, tell me, this whole land issue, I've never understood why you go out of your way. You know, and I don't discuss personal issues here, but
no, it's all right.
One thing
might help somebody out there. I mean, I feel the point of.
In 2009, I went to a commercial institution, borrowed money, having been convinced by some groups of people somewhere in this part of this country, in Kayung. I was shown a piece of land. I went there. I looked at it. They gave me a price. I went, poor me, borrowed heavily, came and paid. I don't have the land now. Not that I was good. The land is there, but some characters, the same guys who sold it to me, claim they own the land. I just don't understand.
So anyway. This guy says, poor me. Last week you were telling us you're not an ordinary Ugandan because you had double-digit million.
I'm not saying poor me.
You know,
yeah.
He works hard.
Yeah, and you said you're not ordinary Ugandan.
One thing's for sure, I am no ordinary Ugandan. No.
Without a doubt, because there's many that live below $1 a day, 96% of
Uganda's youth. And let's not forget, this is out of hard-earned struggle over the last 3 decades plus. So please,
so please. Land is an issue that is going to raise a lot more dust as we do proceed. Nantaba, for example, was out there trying to help out people. But again, many times, I mean, we are seeing her apparently throwing off people their legitimate land as a way of being populist. You know, let's get the locals back on the land.
The same locals who sell their land. You know, you want to have your cake and eat it. Anyway, as always, the Daily Monitor does share with you what you possibly did not know about your district. And in today's edition, Know Your District is featuring NTV, which is not a district per se, but well, it's NTV. Is it a district? No. It is it's a municipality in, I think, Wakiso, if my geography is anything to go by. Not forgetting that these districts have been so fragmented that now you can't remember where it belonged. Once it was in Mpigi, now in Wakiso. But there we are, the movers and shakers of this place in Entebbe. Quite interesting faces.
Does it deserve district status?
Well, all you have to do nowadays is make a little noise and get a district. I'm glad the powers that be woke up and realized, you know what, this district thing is going to come back to bite us. Because you can't have every sub-county, every village becoming a district.
Well, at least the district giver has since realized that that move is not tenable. President Museveni is now one of those crusading against the creation of districts.
The powers that be have woken up, as it were.
Yeah, so you can eat a raw squirrel, you can eat a raw rat, it doesn't matter, you not get a district, as was the case. Talking about eating wildlife, well, there is one that's not yet been eaten, but is hovering around them. And an interesting story playing out from the western region in Mbala, to be very specific. A crested crane trading an injured man for 4 days.
I saw that and I thought, wait a minute.
That was very freaky.
We were superstitious. I began to think big things are gone for this man. I mean, the crested crane.
Was thinking this thing is going to eat me up. It's a crested crane.
I actually thought about that thing like for the whole day. I'm like, how can this thing follow this? Until they got money for
it. Brad, of all the problems delivering this kind of all the macabre stories going on, you had the whole day.
Yeah, it's a how does a bird follow you for 4 days?
Let me give you something to think about for the whole of today. Beauty care. Is your favorite salon safe?
I think mine is safe.
I think mine too. I like my new guys. Throughout the old ones, they were big-headed.
No, now you are of a high status where you pass, people recognize you by face and name, and so you have to move. You have to move on from that little kiosk where they use clippers, the handheld ones, which you know, and now you add a tree, you know, add a tree, and then finally he goes to get himself 18 years. But welcome to our club.
You see, where I have to sit and I'm paying you and I wanted you to cut my hair, it's sudden when you're saying, no, this is better, let's do it like this, and I'm thinking, dude, I am paying you. If you don't think it's good, it is my head, it is my hair, it is my money. So you do what I want you to do anyway.
Let me do this. I'm going to task Freddy's to come.
Who are you doing Kalango for now?
Well, he's really one of the best I know. But he will come here and tell us how, you know, the basics of a safe salon.
Well,
if I don't see a sterilizer in your salon,
suddenly there should be one.
Go out.
I mean, a little bit of a massage. My new guy, although the other day was overdoing it, I said, boss, you take your hands off of me.
You.
Better, because you see, I'm flesh and blood, and I don't want to tempt this myself.
Why is the guy massaging you?
It is safer for me, because you see, when you get a block of butter and you put it before fire, if it is real butter, it will melt.
So
if it doesn't melt, it is a block of wood.
You can't visually.
I will prefer that a man does it.
Awake to the current scenario where even a man would sexually arouse you. That, of course, will be handled by the anti-homosexuality bill. Now, in the Daily Monitor, as we go further, interesting stories in the business world. But, of course, looking at the sports, our dear, good old friend, Stephen Kiprotich, came 12th in the Virgin London Marathon. Isn't this the same place where he won gold in the Commonwealth?
No. You know, we should keep
the last time he was there, he was the 8th. Now he's the 12th.
Now he's 12th. When Golola first beat up somebody here, we all got excited. Of course, some people are saying he got the fellow here from Arua Park. And then thereafter, they began to beat him. And everybody that wanted to beat was going for Golola. But Ugandans kept their hope alive. They kept, trusting this man. And this time around, he showed them that I'm still around. So let's
But I am glad that he really tamed this British sensation more far, in as much as our brother from just above the northeastern border, but the whole brouhaha around more far. It was like he was the only guy running the marathon. Yet we had this good East African.
But Mo Farah came 8th, so.
Yeah, but
and for Mo Farah, it was his first, marathon.
Usually does, I think, shorter ones?
Yes. He did better than
but that's what happens when he's good. What's your problem? That he's British or?
No, this whole buzz around him and all that. And of course now the justification for him coming 8th. They said he would have come first if only he had been used to drinking while driving, while running. Yeah, because this normally does shorter races where you don't drink at all. So the problem was having to drink along the way.
And you know what, I have a feeling in one
the next marathon, Mo Farah will win it. So that you can be very sure.
Yeah,
I think
Kiprotich needs to step up. We need to finish that high altitude, facility. And we get our athletes going up there and meaning business. But what made the news for me over the weekend was Liverpool really this time showing that they want
the trophy. I thought what was bigger for news for him is that now finally we will no longer have to write on Arsenal's wall as 9 years a slave. At least now we are sure that you'll get some silverware after an 8-year drought. I mean,
Arsenal. We are in the cup final. We have not yet taken the final.
Yeah, but there's
a little bit of hope.
There's a bit of hope.
Not doing very bad.
But this little team that Arsenal did play over the weekend took them all through a 1-1 draw.
You can't call it little because it's the defending champion. It was the defending champion.
I'm calling somebody who's been a Liverpool fan apparently for about 10 years and has been very quiet.
Beat Manchester United.
Which one?
This team walloped Manchester United.
The one that gave you a bloody nose.
And it's the defending champion of the FA Cup. So they did.
So that is an excuse good enough. Okay.
Well, you went all the way. Luck was on your side. You played with resilience, and indeed, you gave a lifeline to your otherwise miserable looking manager. And congratulations to you in the Arsenal camp.
Okay, you won.
Let's have a final one from the red paper before we can close it down.
And we had neglected this talk, but of course the Kaihura Amama Stormy Meat secrets leaking everywhere.
I see this one here. NRM full of worms, Minister
Onek. Is this a surprise for Onek?
And worms are what color, Mposi? Are they yellowish or what?
But it also
which one, if they are roundworms, tapeworms, or earthworms.
Page 5 on the red paper says Bukenya plots huge comeback and that he
where has he been?
Started in 2016.
Where has he been? We never saw his huge go back. How come he's making a huge comeback?
But he says he was serious to stand against the president in 2016 until he met some group of ministers that convinced him to step down and stop it, including Frank Tumwebazi, who told him not to stab the president in the
I don't even think it's an issue of money. He's come to the realization that he cannot make it. Look, for him to imagine he can be president of Uganda in 2016, I think that was the pipe dream.
Give him 2021, even 2026, even 2031, even 2036. He would not be president of Uganda.
He would not be your president. But that's what they said about President Museveni back in the day. But he's been your president for how many years?
30 years, but now really you're comparing apples and little gooseberries.
He was a guava also back then.
Check this out. This is really weird. Twin sisters who share everything, including the same bed with the same boyfriend.
Absolute stupidity.
And they say that the guy says he's one of the luckiest men alive.
Well, let's not forget that this is not a story that's playing out in Uganda. Perhaps there could be that playing out in Uganda. We do not know. We only wait for the news.
The time a guy married sisters, I saw that and I was thinking, what were these women thinking about?
Joel, the test of the pudding, as they say, is always in the eating.
Oh, come on. They do that over the cameras, make a little bit of noise, show that they're excited. Backdoor, my friend. Daggers.
That's the reason why, indeed, you don't go into that direction, I guess.
Which one? Of marriage? I am coming very soon.
There we are.
Morning
at NTV's press review. And yes, we're talking it a short break. When we return, we'll be discussing a big story. And of course, let's not forget that this is a segment of our morning show that's brought to you proudly by Uganda Telecom. Is it still about you? Yes, of course it is.
It's all about you.
Dial star 100 hash, select Chize and get the total amount you spend in a month refunded. This refund can be used for calls and SMSs to all networks for the next 30 days from Uganda's most affordable telecom service, Uganda Telecom. It's all about you.
Every idea we have begins with you. The way you connect.
Good morning.
How you browse. How you share. And how you interact with the world around you.
Your relationship with your God is the most important thing. Have a company of people who have got a similar mindset.
How do you want people to think, feel, and act after your talk? In other words, what's your objective?
You inspire everything. Because in the end, innovation doesn't really matter unless it does something that really matters to you. And we are HTC.
What's that?
That document.
Oh, that. Just some business.
I came to apologize. I have no right to interfere in your lives.
I've eliminated the only evidence that links me to Ivan Chinawa's death.
But you didn't have to kill another person.
It's not like I've got anything to hide, Nene. Just go ahead.
Victoria, how is it like to work for Miles Filagazi?
Blood seemed to matter not.
Blood?
Yeah, blood.
I'm responsible for your father's death.
On the next episode of Deception.
nkugambye wenjogerera yafunye nadde omuguzi era yabadde anoonya ne kakati yafunye n'omuguzi.
For your own information, I did not badmouth you to anybody. And who the hell told Jackie about this? Jackie?
I want to respectfully ask the father of my son to be born baby to think of the name we are going to give our son.
Olubuto lwange ekyo kyo nkyekakasa.
Okyekakasa otya nga ne Mike naye akyekakasa?
Sandyagadde bantu balala kukuza mwana wange kubanga nze kitaawe nkyaliwo. So
Deception. You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Molondo.
Indeed, Morning at NTV continues with today's big story.
Good morning once again. If you are one of those that profess the Christian faith, you know that this is the beginning indeed of the Holy Week. Many of you make quite a big fuss about Christmas, the time when the Messiah was born. But he was born to accomplish one thing, to come in here, show us the way, the truth, and the light, and of course go through that, the hallmark of his mission on earth, his death and resurrection. Of course, his death was occasioned by the fact that those in his own backyard did not feel his vibe, if I may use modern day speak. His death was occasioned by the fact that many of those that he preached to never believed that one, he was the Son of God or even the Messiah. Many of us never believe when good things befall us. For the most part, we're always skeptical when indeed prophets come our way. There's also a popular saying that prophets are never revered in their own land. In there, they are rebuked. They are even killed, as was the case with the Christ, some over 2,000 years ago. But as I speak now, the world's 7 billion people, more than half of that profess faith. And this is the beginning of a mission that started off with just one man and 12 disciples. This week, as we start the Holy Week, it's time to reflect. Morning at NTV's Big Story takes a dip into the virtues of Christianity and invites you to join us as we discuss what it is for a country whose motto is for God and my country. Can we use, can we share, can we look at, can we ponder, can we pontificate about as we go through this Holy Week? Of course, we've had the past over 30 days of Lent for the Christians, fasting and chastising, and of course, asking for forgiveness of our sins. But what can we do in the last lap of this wonderful race? I'll start off with the Christians that are joining me this morning on the show. The usual suspects, Joel and Brian, who are strong Christians by their own admission. Whether or not their words are in tandem with their actions, it's not mine to judge. Judgment there will be done by Christ himself.
It's like somebody going to beat you the first caressy probe and then they hammer. But I mean, I was thinking, hey, Pastor Kasiati, that sounded like a nice sermon. If you start the church, I would like to be your treasurer.
When I tell you here that I've got huge conflicts of interest on almost every subject I discuss, many people will say, this guy has been everywhere. Yes, indeed. For 5 years of my life, I did serve as a devout altar boy at my local church.
Why do you look like a Buddhist?
That put me in touch with the understandings of Christian living and virtue. I'm not here to grandstand and call myself holy. That is only between me and my God. But we can discuss for the sake of our viewers. What is it that we can do differently, bordering and sharing on Christ's short life, that could make this country a better place? I'll start with you, Joel.
80 to 90% of this country's population, we are told, are Christians. And I understand Uganda and the US are the only countries that have God in their motto. I'm not too sure there's any...
well, I'm sure even Britain has Mon Dieu and Modro. That is my God and my right.
As a motto?
On their cultivar.
There you have it. They're not very many, but you know, it clearly goes to show how much we revere our God, how much we tend to love Christianity and that kind of thing. But I'll tell you, much of the time we have become religious bigots. People have bumper stickers of Jesus on their cars, but they behave like a cousin to the devil himself. We go to church on Sunday, and then on Saturday we enter a shrine. We seem very, very confused, and probably that would go.
I'll give you an experience from yesterday's Palm Sunday service at Mbuya, where I attended the 11 o'clock mark. Usually on ordinary Sundays, you can even play soccer in the church. Sometimes you sit wherever you want to. But yesterday, there was a traffic gridlock that delayed the service for over 30 minutes. And when we got in there, it was extremely packed. Indeed, the priest did joke at the end of the sermon and said, well, we want to welcome our visitors. Because clearly there were tremendous visitors in there. But guess what? All those people inside there, the bulk majority, were parishioners who never go to church except on these show-off Sundays, Palm Sunday, Easter Sunday, Christmas. But then he did remind us that on Thursday there is Mass, Friday there is the Way of the Cross, Saturday, the eve of his resurrection, there will be Mass at night, Easter Sunday there will be an extra Mass, so we must come in as many numbers as we did come to show off.
I know a friend who last attended church on his wedding day.
Well, he wedded when? Saturday?
Of course it was a Saturday.
No, I'm saying last Saturday.
No, but you know, that shows, you know, a friend of mine called Pastor Moses Muksa says church starts on Monday.
Sunday is garage time.
Yes, Sunday is garage time. You go to church to get wired, to refuel.
To get service. That's why it's called a service.
Yes, that's why it's called a service. So you go, the pastor or the reverend or the priest does his thing, adds all these nuts and bolts, and you know, you're back on the road. On Monday, you start church. You start ministering. So that by Saturday, you're sure your fuel is out and you go back and refuel. Now, some of us have outlived that service time.
You're beyond your
We are
service
beyond.
time.
So we
risk knocking the engine.
Oh, yes. We need repackaging. If we went back to church right now, we would be shocked out of our, you know, our minds. And that's what is happening now. On days like Easter, someone goes to church 3 months, it's a quarter. they go there.
But let me just put it to you here that, you know, on such big service days, as we're going to see with Easter, when it comes in on Sunday, you get all these wonderful political figures that we're always talking about here on The Big Story, or even in the press review, that are accused of embezzling so many funds, that are involved in all sorts of scandals, from sexual to financial. And you see them taking the front pews in a church, and you see the reverends ministering right there at the front. Is it a case of the most sick deserving to see the doctor first, or is it a case where we have become so complacent that we seem to idolize otherwise wrongful people, corrupt people, bigoted people, and put them at the front row because they hold political office? Doesn't it bother you many times when you see those pictures playing out in the media? Or this, previously he was being shown being whisked away into the anti-corruption court. He's there going into jail for stealing money, and at the next big occasion, he's seated at the front pew of the church.
God help me if I ever visit a church. I have a church I go to, Watoto North for that matter. God help me if I ever visit a church and I'm seated somewhere and they come and tell me, you know, excuse us, we are bringing somebody powerful here. They will see the, you know, there's something called holy anger. Eh?
Did you read my mind? But I have never been, and this I can say. The year was 1995. I was invited by a friend of mine, a lady friend of mine then, to attend service at then Kampala Pentecostal Church. Then I was 15 years. I didn't instead sit up in the overflow where youth always sat, because I wanted to feel the real feeling of the church. I sat down in the auditorium. While I was seated there with my friend, the pastor called out and said, if you know you are below 18 and you're seated here, please exit. And someone walked up to me. Someone walked up to me and told me, excuse me. They displaced me to place there the Honorable Mayanja Kanjemana. I've got interesting and of course a lot of requirement for. They displaced me. The year was 1995. Since then, I only returned to KPC for a requiem service just last year for a friend of mine.
Well, so I suppose they were sending you to Sunday school, children's church, so that they, I mean, that happens a great deal, you know. Because there's children's church for young people, go there, let the adults have their own thing, and then there's one tailor-made for you. But the point is here is it's because politics has infiltrated Christianity, or religion for that matter, as opposed to the other way around. We need to see Christianity, we need to see religion infiltrating politics, and probably we'll have
more sanitized
a lot less
politics.
of this. You know, there are people called CEOs. They go to church on Christmas, for Easter, and then all for a few others. You know?
Ordinary Sundays that may pass.
I want to also say this, that, you know, politicians are now funders, big funders of church activities.
Yeah, we see them being given pajeros, you know, by His Excellency.
So it's quite hard to separate the two. When
Joel says, we're seeing a lot of politics infiltrating churches, and we should be looking at a scenario where church is in fact infiltrating politics. But when there was an attempt at church infiltrating the politics, you remember one of the chief politicians did warn them and say, you have never seen me walk into your pulpit to baptize children, so I don't expect you to come and meddle.
Of course they don't want it. You see, if you go to a doctor and he's trying to treat you, you have a wound, you will not want him to touch it, yeah? But he's got to touch it and make sure he remedies it. So the politicians will not want, you know, the religious people to make comments about this and that. But what is religion? What do you tell people in your church, for example?
But we are also
everything
forgetting
that is around us.
We are also forgetting that church has always been part of politics. The problem now is to, you know, manage it. We all know that politics has been majorly, best even in this country, from the church.
But that is what
existence is on the church.
But that's what the NRM is out to break, that you shouldn't have political parties that are heavily rooted in Christianity. But let's go back to the story of Christ, especially as he goes through this week, where let's not forget that he's received triumphantly as he was yesterday into Jerusalem, people waving palms and saying, Hosanna in the highest, the Son of David is here, the King of the Jews is here. The same people that were jubilatingly welcoming him, as we see to the close of the week, will be the same people saying, crucify him, release Barabbas, instead crucify him. He's claiming to be the Son of God, yet he's unable to be the Son of God. You will see the same people taunting him on the cross and say, look at him, he saved others, but he cannot himself. If you are the Messiah, get yourself off that cross. What does that tell you about human nature?
And we see it playing out a lot. Well, you talked about palms, and some people are getting concerned that, you see, we are messing up the environment by plucking trees and that kind of thing. Sorry for another day.
But the human nature, that you revere somebody and within a very short time, their message doesn't resonate anymore, and that we see the Pharisees leading, and yes, I hasten to add, even the scribes, for this is clearly said in the Bible, that these people really wanted him to go. And then we see the story of the infiltration into his camp, where they pick one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, pay him some 30 silver pounds, use him to betray the Messiah himself.
Change never comes easy, truth be told. And I was giving you the example of you are a bit unwell, and for you to get remedied, somebody has got to, you know, tinker with you a little bit, disturb you, and we do not want that. And that was the case of the Pharisees. And we see that a lot today. That is why when you look somebody in the eye and tell them, dude, stop stealing, work hard, make a genuine living, they'll begin throwing salvos at you. We do not want that. And that is why they will turn against you when you begin to show them that, you know what, this is the right thing for you to do. And I think we need to propagate that a lot more. It is possible that this country can get better. It's possible that we can see theft lessening. It's possible that we can see people actually doing work. Because you see, it's not enough for you to say I'm not corrupt. But you see, if you're supposed to get your job at 8 a.m., but you get there at 10 a.m., then you civil servant, you put a coat on your seat, and then you go out, come back at about midday. That is theft. And some of these are Christians. I want to tell it to you. You are a thief. For all intents and purposes. Now, I'm not speaking like somebody who is perfect. We are all trying. We are all a work in progress. But you see, when I fall down, I get up again. And
Joel, you see, the mistake we make is to think that all the bad things are playing out in the political circles. How about the ordinary citizens, the ordinary Ugandans who are possibly watching us now in their own individual little cocoons? Are they able to live and within the goodness that Christ did preach in his 33 years in life, where he says, one, love thy God, love thy neighbor as you love thyself. Those two very important things. How are Ugandans playing into that gospel, and what should they do to make it even better? Should they always say, my little sins, as my private person called Brian Mulondo, should remain, I don't care for as long as...
I don't know, but
no, well, rather, and then you keep the spotlight on the big names that play out in the media, Mama, Museveni, Tumwebaze, mention it.
And that's why I was giving the example, Brian is coming in shortly, the example of the way I operate as an individual. If I'm supposed to be at work at 8 and then I get there at 10, then I should not be pointing fingers at politicians who are stealing money. I'm not any different from them. If as a father you go back home and beat your wife and then you come out and you're all grandstanding trying to make yourself look good, I think we need to reflect individually.
I mean, if you're beating your wife and then tomorrow you're the loudest person on radio castigating the police for beating Kiza Besigye, I mean, clearly, what's the difference between you and the police?
You don't beat your wife, I know.
I'm doing a devotion called Elijah's House. And one of the chapters is focusing on bitter roots. And it stems from the judgment that you have, whether it's from your parents or from your wife or your children. That particular judgment is the same thing we take and apply in all other spheres of our lives. At your workplace, you're the first to judge your boss for not giving you a salary, for keeping you at the same job, at the same in the same place for a very long time.
All of which are things that you should blame nobody but yourself.
Yes, it transcends to all the other places. And that always blocks our ability to go past, you know, the politician.
Then there is the sloth. Then there is the sins of envy.
And then you hear people who say,
because you have honestly told some people that, yes, from what I earn, I get a double-digit million per year. And then somebody goes on Facebook, oh, this guy is bragging and all that. You know, some of them, sorry, maybe the Holy Week, but I would not stop to show someone the middle
that
finger.
would also be different because Kaseate also bragging.
You need to be modest.
Also not good.
It is not good at all.
That's why Joel was very clear that neither are we perfect, but our quest to be perfect should certainly be an infinite quest, that we should always try to be perfect in whatever we do. But that does not mean that you run roughshod over someone because they are sinning right before you.
Without a doubt. But you see, Abraham was talking about the issue of judging. I'll tell you, many times it is more convenient to point fingers at everybody else, you know. But there's something that I've adopted. It's still hard for me to do, but I keep trying, you know. When something is wrong, I don't look out the window to, you know, throw responsibility at somebody. I look in the mirror and then I realize this guy could be responsible.
Maybe it's in our side
as you to do that. I hope we keep doing that, you know, keep looking in the mirror. That is why the problem is supposed to looking
I think that you also need to ask yourself, Joel, is, you know, while that is happening, what is your contribution to that happening?
Absolutely.
That's why I'm looking in the mirror to see myself as part of the problem.
Indeed, one of the priests in a homily recently did say that in our culture, in our local speak, there is little to show that we put responsibility on ourselves. If you woke up late, for example, and you missed your flight, usually someone will say, they would never say, I was late and the plane took off. No, they want to blame it on the plane, that the plane left earlier than it should have.
The other day I found a Nigerian who was almost eating up people at the airport. I said, my goodness, she came late and she was speaking all this Igbo, and I was thinking, madam, relax. She wanted to beat up these guys.
So the absence of putting responsibility onto ourselves, indeed, like you said, that people need to use, I mean, we may not be holy all through the year, but I think people need to use this moment to actually strengthen their relationship with the Creator. And it doesn't matter whether you're Christian or Muslim or any other denomination for that matter, or even for the most part, if you do not believe but have a belief that there is something supernatural that explains your existence. Whether or not you're a believer or a non-believer, I think there should be certain basic tenets of human existence. Goodness, kindness, your ability to be good to yourself and thy neighbor.
Let me tell you,
that is for the most part what
something that I've learned. This week should literally help us understand that Jesus came down, he took our place, and he took the consequences that would have, that we bear for committing adultery, for stealing government
he was
money.
tempted.
He took all that. He took on our greediness, our disobedience, our arrogance, the corruption tendencies we have, and he also bore the consequences, and that is death. But people should also know that, and it's not we're not saying that we are perfect, that every time you sin, you are literally telling God, take that.
You're taking him back to the cross.
I don't know what they call it, how they say that in English, but you're kind of saying, hey, have this,
you are so
this,
in other words you are making it worse for the Messiah. But also, like, we look into the story when he went up the garden of Gethsemane to pray, he did indeed look out his father and cry out to him and say, my father, why have you forsaken me? He also cried out here and said, Lord, the flesh is willing, no, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is unwilling. Then he said, if it is possible, let this cup of suffering pass by me. But nonetheless, let your will be done. That is clearly showing you the human aspect of Christ himself, that he faced our usual sufferings that we do face in life. Many times you want to do good, but then you are faced with the other alternatives that seem to be even much more rosy, that are supposed to give you some kind of relief. But it's your ability to transcend that comfort and go into that narrow path for you to attain greatness and spirituality. And this is the moment when we should reflect into our goings on. And that brings us to the issue of, our day-to-day living and interaction. Like you rightly said, we are in a country which for the most part professes Christianity. It's for God and my country.
But we are registered as a Muslim country, you know that.
Hopefully we get that
is still.
But we are Christians, even though we might be
that is still
Muslim nation.
Religious. I mean, that is still religious, because I don't think that the virtues of Christianity are any different from those of Islam. Because
they are different.
I don't think
that will probably be a debate for another day.
I won't want to hear they are any different with with very fundamental deviation, except for practices. But it's all on the basis of goodness
and the debate of religion being different from faith.
Exactly.
Because also religion, there's a huge debate that religion has tied us.
Christ didn't bring religion, he brought faith.
Yeah, but then we as men
who created
the religions. But so be that as it may, how do that's what I was coming to, that we need to use this moment to do self-reflection. And self-reflection is not pointing fingers out there, it's pointing fingers at yourself to see how best you can make ends meet for yourself. The moment we do that, then clearly you can say that this world is going in the direction for which it's supposed to. However, we also faced with technological advancements vis-a-vis your Christian faith. That technological advancements have gone in such a manner that you begin to even question the very existence of God. How do you respond to some of this? Because we imbibe, we eat, we dream, we embrace technological advancements, but we are reluctant to take on the goodness and faith that Christianity brings, or even Islam.
I'll tell you, inherently it's easier to do evil than to do good. That is the way we are wired. That is why you don't have to teach a kid bad manners, I mean, they grow up that way. You actually just have to teach them good manners,
domesticate.
But I'll tell you, in this day and age, you talk about technology, it is a lot easier to do evil. People those days used to scramble to get pornography. Nowadays, you can access it on your phone, for example. Things have changed, and it is a lot more difficult to do good, but it's not impossible.
But also now scientists can create anything, Joe. The other day they created an artificial heart. So you see that right now we say I can do anything.
They're beginning to do this. Before it was the preserve of God to provide life, but you can see we're seeing
scientists. Well, we will never provide life. We might provide. But
you can see that there's been a quest to a very huge degree. I mean, we are also
this cloning. Yeah, we never come close to the real.
We are also moving. We're also moving to a point where we're beginning to look at alternative places to stay. That's why there's always an infinite quest to go and see whether there is life on other planets. So you can see that human advancement is moving in such a manner that, for the most part, people begin to lose faith in faith. Because you see, God's ways are not our ways, but our ways are certainly our ways.
But you see, I think it should be a good thing when God looks at us, he's thinking, look at these brilliant children of mine. He's that who's given us wisdom, yeah? But you see, we should use this wisdom, the whole science and technology, for his glory, not to, you know, get onto a high horse and gloat over it and think we have arrived. But I know we're winding up. Let me just say this. See, Christianity is not the creed we profess. It is the life we live. And we need to have that at the back of our minds. You know, the way I live, the way I do things. That is what Christianity is.
Be a
It's not about my Jesus bumper sticker or me carrying a big Bible. I think that is a good thing to do, yeah? But you see, ultimately, if you're to carry that big Bible, but you behave like the Antichrist, it just does not add
Thank
up.
you for preempting the Simon Says part of
There's
this
a
segment,
tweet here.
That's exactly what would
There's a tweet here. Too much social media time, too little Bible time. The apps of which are probably right next to each other.
Well, there we have it. As we take in a short break for me to return with Simon Says, I want to thank, once again, those of you who heed our call to come and pay us a visit at ESCOM on Friday. It was a tremendous time. And of course, you can check our Twitter and Facebook pages. All their experiences are in there. Those of you who haven't yet shared your experience, please do share it for people to know that it was time well spent. Let's take a short break. When I return, it's Simon Says. You'll call me a mimic, but I don't mind, because what I'm mimicking is exactly what you need to know. Like Joel did say earlier on, it is not so much about the faith we profess or even the creed that we profess. It's the life that we lead that makes us that kind of person that should be walking the surface of the earth and make God happy of his creation. What are we talking about if you just joined us? We are looking at the beginning of the Holy Week. The time when we celebrate the Passion of the Christ, the time when Christ did fulfill the reason as to why he came down, to save us and create a new chapter, or call it a new testament with God. Rules were set, laws were put in place, many of which have been broken. But two major commandments still stand out. Love thy God, love thyself, love thy neighbor as you love thyself. Do we live by those tenets? If we don't, can we use this moment, this Holy Week, to look into ourselves, get ourselves ready to live a life that gives glory to God, but as it does, provides all that we need as a country. If you're charged with any responsibility, kindly do it to the fullest that you should. If you're a politician, well, we are always grappling about you and your antics. Kindly have a change. If you are a journalist like myself, when the news is supposed to be at 7 o'clock, be on at 7 o'clock. We always do. That I must say. But to what extent do we also do perfectly other things that we're supposed to do? Be you a mechanic, be you a cobbler, be you a tailor, be you all those unscrupulous people that walk the surface of the earth. Can you use this moment to look into yourself and see how best you can make yourself a better person? Wherever this wonderful week takes you, ensure that you are good, you profess goodness, and do not just take it for this week, carry it on to become a lifestyle, so that at the end of the day, the cumulative sum of goodness from each one of us will become the glory that this country and by extension this world will celebrate for the good of our time now, the time of our children's children, and their children's children. Have a wonderful day.
Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat. Follow the beat. Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat. Follow the beat. Follow the beat, follow the beat. Follow the beat. Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat. Follow the beat.
Kampala has been voted in the past as one of the favorite cities for tourists, one of the most peaceful cities. That is something that is changing.
Kale Kaihura, the Inspector General of Police, and President Yoweri Museveni, their alliance, they can only crack down or stop individual strikes and individual demonstrations. But I don't think they can stop the growth of militancy.
No holds barred.
Besigye and Lukwago have particular grievances against the government, some legitimate, some misguided. What should the police do? Of course, the police has to intervene, A, to protect the power of President Yoweri Museveni and the NRM from disruption by Besigye and Lukwago, but B, also, never forget this, to protect those ordinary people whose property gets destroyed.
I want to ask that many think that they've actually been frustrated.
Opposition parties in Africa do not tend to be constructed around policy differences. FDC lacks a glue to hold its coalition of different power-hungry individuals together.
Incisive.
You see, the NRM is more divided internally than the FDC. The advantage with the NRM is it has political power.
Analytical.
I think that one of the best organized political parties in Uganda is the PPP, the People's Progressive Party with Ansari. This idea that everybody is peddling around the world that Africans are poor and they cannot contribute to their own political and social emancipation is crap. In fact, I think that the opposition parties in Uganda have to win an election in an unfair and unleveled ground.
Newsnight with Andrew Mwenda.
The average age of the international team is under 18. And so
the primary role of Team Uganda is to remain to Division 2.
Probably that's the only thing that can make one or two rugby fans smile, that the Cogs are doing well.
The players haven't put on they haven't wore the game faces. They're not the animals we saw last season, because Ferguson had the same group of players and he did deliver the Holy Grail, which is the title.
I was going to my hall, someone came from my back and was
how tugenda okwebaka ekiro yanga mwami omanyi olwakeko nange omulundi gw'ogusembayo.
I went to the nurse and I asked why is it that our father is negative and for us we are positive.
Every time I find a story of assault of one person to another, I get disturbed.
Mwayombye ekiro lwaleeta suzeewo lwe bakwokezza nazeepoza kimu nti mujja wange yanjokezza.
Kino ekyafa kino kyali kyakulira muno mu lubuto.
The Irene I know just loves music and loves to sing. I've never seen her even smoke a cigarette.
The days of legal trade in slaves are history, following its abolition in the 1800s.
They tie you like this. That's when I started getting past.
Everybody has a story, but yours will only become our story when you share it.
On the next episode of Destiny River.
You mind explaining to me what this means?
The last time we had met, you made it clear I had to choose between you and my father.
Solano, she and the hawker, look.
Hey, Aspasia, God will punish you. Solano, calm down. Just please tell me.
You cannot do anything to help.
Destiny River. You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
It's 7 after 8 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us today. Again, it's a brand new week. This is one of the most important weeks of Christianity. We know in a couple of days we'll be witnessing the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And wherever you are, you'll be celebrating that. And probably also a time for you to reflect on what your life should be in the couple of years to come. And on the big story, we talked about that and the importance of this week, but also as a country that believes in God, whose motto really is for God and my country, are we translating that into our everyday life? Ultimately concluding that Christianity should be a lifestyle, not just you know, thing we go to church, then we say the same prayers every day. No, it's a lifestyle that we should live. We're not all perfect. We're a work in progress, definitely, but I think it's time for us to get onto that journey and, you know, live like we are supposed to live. A couple of your comments on our Twitter handle. At Sam Kahuka saying, I'm not in Uganda right now. How do I get the national ID? Any solution for people like me? Well, hopefully tomorrow we are going to get someone from the National ID Project to come and, of course, answer more questions. And you might be shocked who will be on the show tomorrow. So watch us tomorrow, please. Another comment coming in from Bogerema Nisul is that, why is it that at Kasiate underrates at Jilibu, Kenya that low? You'll be surprised one day. At Elsie Muha saying, loving the pastors on the show today, Joel, Musumba, Brian, and Simon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And remember that our handle is at morning at NTV. Mabel will be coming in a couple of minutes to read some of our Facebook comments that you have written. But also, we want to thank you for those that made the trip to Jinja. You know, the request of Kasiate, who went to see how the power is generated in Jinja. I hope right now you have the answers. We'll get some of those pictures, post them on our Facebook page. We've already shared them on our Twitter handle. Please go there and you can see some of the people that were there. Elsie Muha, we thank you also for tweeting some of those pictures. And the rest of you, get to know this stuff. Read about electricity. Don't wait for the public debate that we always task Kasiate to take to Nachivubo, not the Imperial Royal Hotel. Mabel is coming by with the birthday wishes and, of course, your Facebook messages when I come back. Everyday Life. Stay with us.
Happy birthday to you.
Birthdays are a blessing, and today we say happy birthday to Lina Babi, a student at Makerere University. We also say happy birthday to Patrick Ocho, who contacted us through Facebook. Remember, you can contact us on our Facebook page, Morning at NTV. And not forgetting Justin Mirembe, a student of computer science here in Kampala. Happy birthday to you all. And on to Facebook. This is a picture that was taken on Friday at Ginger. Some of the staff members here at NTV, as well as a bunch of you, our wonderful viewer at home. Thank you for being part of this trip. And I was told you got diaries and calendars and other goodies, and I do hope you had a wonderful time in Ginger. To some of your messages today on the press review, we have Simon saying, this is regarding the ID project. He said he wants to know its sustainability. If this project is to last for time, you know, for the rest of time, how will it be successful? Because a central registry must be established to cater for the years to come, and these centers must be permanent. For example, the passport office. But on to other messages that you've sent in this morning. Johnson Kansime says, thanks for the show. I did not know that Simon is a Christian. Anyway, I'm not surprised. He looks to be one. Mabel, my kudos and shout outs to all my fellow Gulu University students. NTV, you are the best. Mwanguhya says, happy day team. And then Prince Intari Ahmed says, I'm late for work because of your show. I wish you could talk with my boss that I have been present for the NTV morning show. Thank you guys for the nice show. I wish you the very best for the week. And Andrew Mwanga says, hello to Pastor Joel, Reverend Simon, Brother Brian, Sister Mebo, Monsieur Dakava. You guys rock. And Isaac also says he believes he's going to have a blessed week because he wakes up early for the show. Someone is asking Brian to read Luke 19:46. I wonder what that actually says there. And Abiaz says, good morning everyone who is watching NTV. And to those in the studio, Andrew Mwanga wants to know if the French they spoke was actually proper French or they were just killing Mbogos. Well, we now return to Brian for today's HTC moment.
We started with the goal of bringing the power of computing into the hands of people around the world. From the beginning, we were designing many of the world's first touch and wireless handheld devices. Reaching out to our partners and setting no limits on innovation, we produced one of the most popular touch experience devices of the time. We were building smartphones before the term smartphone even existed. We then set out to make the most versatile smartphones, including ones that let you use either a touchscreen or a keyboard. We saw the potential of 3G early on and introduced the world's first 3G Windows mobile smartphone. We changed the way you use your fingers. Based on our research into gestures, we gave you the intuitive and easy-to-use HTC Touch. We then announced a new way for you to experience the internet with the world's first Google Android smartphone. To give you the most personal experience, we introduced HTC Sense, a user experience that fundamentally changes the way you use your phone by making things work the way you expect them to. We once more revolutionized the industry by launching the world's first 4G Android smartphone. We integrated Beats audio into our phones to deliver the most authentic sound experience, enabling people to finally feel the music the way the artist intended. We created a one-of-a-kind phone with an amazing camera that outperforms most point-and-shoot varieties. Most recently, we once again set the industry ablaze with the new HTC One. Critics have hailed the new One with its full metal body design, a live home screen, photos that come to life, and dual frontal speakers as the best Android phone of the year. Curiosity and ingenuity have defined our history, and we're recognized by the industry as one of the world's most innovative brands. We've come a long way, but one thing hasn't changed. It's people like you that inspire us to create the most innovative products in a world that becomes more connected every day.
Seventeen after 8, we're still at the rooftop of the Kampala Serena Hotel. This morning, HTC moment, of course, remembering that HTC brings you everyday life. Quietly brilliant. Grab one of those phones at the Forest Mall. We'll be giving out phones tomorrow and drawing. We'll have a set of questions for you. And I'm telling you, I'm very excited because we're going to give out another brand of HTC phones. And I'm also still, you know, getting my HTC, up to speed. There's so many things, but HTC's new One Max, which I hold, has been referred to as a beast, for lack of a better word, as the new demon of mobile telecom. But this is really, it's a speed demon, but its camera stinks. That's what they say. Now, in modern slang, stinks is chijuvu. That's what it means, right? Sebo, that's what it means. Chijuvu. I told you this camera does amazing things in full HD. I'm a video guy, and that's what I know most. So I know when someone says full HD, this is the stuff to get. Just hold on one second. It has a 5-inch screen, okay? And that also helps you navigate, especially for us who do graphics, and we are very handy when it comes to pictures or Photoshop. I know a person who got this phone just to do Photoshop on the phone all the time. So grab one of these phones. HTC Hub at the Forest Mall. Tomorrow I'll be with a set of questions, and you might be lucky to win the HTC Desire 500. That's your everyday life brought to you by HTC. Stay with us because we are going to look at car loans and mortgages. But most importantly, do you actually need that loan? A business and financial advisor is here with us. Good morning.
It's the first thing you see in the morning and the last thing you see at night. It stresses you out. It calms you down. It helps you remember. It helps you forget. It keeps you connected. It's the only thing you own that is always within an arm's reach. Which is why you don't need to get a phone. You need a phone that gets you, and you, and you, and we are HTC.
Everyday Life is brought to you by...
And we are HTC.
Good morning, people. If you're just joining us on your telly or online, please head over to www.youtube.com/NTV Uganda/live. You can catch this show. Very soon we'll be developing an app where you can watch NTV at any time of the day. So make sure you watch out for that. We'll of course be letting you know as and when that happens. But this morning we're going to look at whether you actually need that loan, whether you're buying a car or buying a house, technically known as mortgages. Are they that crucial? Why don't you have to wait till you save and buy? Some people have preferred that. Others have said, you know what, let me get the loan, secure the property, and we'll see what happens in the future. James Abola this morning is the team leader of Akamai Global and is here to share with us. He's a business and financial advisor. Good morning.
Morning.
Someone also, I think we got you because there's a gentleman who said, make sure you get financial advisors. And later I'll be asking you, what makes a good financial advisor, especially to get our monies right. Okay. But what do you do at Akamai Global?
Well, Akamai, we do a couple of things. One, in the finance aspect, we deal with individuals, help them to manage their money better.
Right.
Yes, and there's a wide spectrum of that. There are those who want to invest, there are those who are grappling with debt, and then there are those who are grappling with saving, and then there are others who just are dealing with issues of planning. Yes, but also we have services that are directed into businesses and organizations, so a whole range from business planning, strategic planning, working with personnel so that their productivity goes up, maybe in team building, customer service excellence, and the like.
Right.
Yes.
Well, each one of us desires to succeed.
Yes.
We have dreams and want dream cars and dream houses, and every day we look at the plans and we're like, one day I'll get this done. But then we, of course, lack the monies. First of all, and some people have called it a necessary evil, what they call the loan. In your work, is it actually a necessary evil? Do I have to get it to be able to secure the things I need?
I think when you look at a loan, or let's call it debt for that matter, there are two sides to it. I call it the double-edged sword. You know, it can be useful, helpful, but it can also be harmful. So you need to know, when I take this debt, is it going to be helpful to me or is it going to be harmful to me?
Right.
So let's give I have a friend of mine who believes in taking loans. And his reasoning is that if he doesn't take a loan, because of the pressures of extended family and extended friends and all that, he can't save.
Really?
You know, by the time he has saved 3 million, there are 5 people planning to wed, and maybe 3 cousins who don't have school fees. So for him, he takes a loan so that when people come and say, you know, help me out, he says, no, I'm already paying the loan. But he's very careful on what he uses the borrowed money.
Right.
Yes, because when you borrow, by the way, what you are doing is that you are mortgaging your future income. You are spending your future income today.
Yes.
Now, you need to be careful how you spend it. Are you spending it in such a way that in future you'll have more, or are you spending it in such a way that in future you have nothing and you are only just living to pay debts?
Right.
Yeah.
I like what you've said. You're mortgaging your future income.
Yes.
Is it risky business to say, let me save until I set up my house?
Brian, risk is relative. It really depends on your circumstances. For instance, if you are earning $10,000 a month.
Wow, I wish I would earn that.
Well, the way I look at you, if you are not already there, then you are headed there. Yes, now, so if you're earning that kind of money, it is pretty possible for you to save. You know, but again, of course, it depends on your disciplines and your goals and your passions. But you could save.
Yes.
All right. And then you find that somebody is maybe earning a lot less than that. Okay. So let's say, talking about mortgage, let's say you're renting a house, you're paying 500,000 a month as your rent. Right. And then probably you say, okay, if I'm to save 500,000 a month, in a year I've saved 6 million. In 10 years I've saved 60 million.
Yes.
All right. Now, probably you could be able to build a pretty modest house,
you know.
Yeah, with 60 million shillings. But then you also need to appreciate that, say, if you have not yet bought the land, the price of the land is not going to be stagnant. It's likely going to go up.
Yes, yes.
On the other hand, you cannot say, I'm going to save my rent money and not pay rent, because you need to live somewhere.
Yes.
You know, so then the necessity may come in the sense that the price of land will go up, or I need to live somewhere. So then I would borrow, take the mortgage, so that I can have the house sooner. Yeah. But then you need to then say, okay, I'm taking the mortgage. What is going to be the repayment on the mortgage? And that's where people many times go wrong. So my rent is 500,000. From my financial circumstances, I could put aside that, assuming that I'm now switching rent to repaying the mortgage. But somebody will take a mortgage where the repayment is maybe 1 million shillings. So now you need to look for twice the money you were putting aside for rent, and then you'll be strained. Right. Yeah, so you need to, I think if you're saying I'm switching my rent to mortgage, then keep the amount.
And I was coming to that, you know, how do you know you're even ready to secure a mortgage, to secure a loan?
Yes.
Are there indicators that, you know, at this point, I can be able to take this loan and pay it?
Thank you. Any loan is repaid with cash. The measure of your readiness is your, how can I say, how much can you tell that I'll have the cash to repay this loan? You know, if you are hoping for a salary increment, if you are hoping for a deal to come through, all that is hope. It is not yet cash, and it may not come through. So you, at the bottom line, you're ready to take a mortgage or a loan or any debt when you are sure of the cash to repay.
Right.
Yes.
If it doesn't come, because, you know, I know people who have been literally arrested for failing, and they will go and get their money from loan sharks.
Yes.
Are there even alternatives to loans? Apart from working and saving, because you may also save, then you get an emergency and use the money. So you're constantly saving for emergency, not the dream that you have.
I think, allow me to say something little about saving. You cannot be an effective saver if you don't have a purpose for your saving. Because you will say, okay, let me save, you know, I'm saving 200,000, 300,000, 2 million shillings every month or whatever time frame. But if you don't have a purpose, the society we live in, there's a lot of pressure for money all around us. Relatives who need your help, friends who need your help, the good things in life that you want to acquire. So you need to be clear, why am I saving? And when that purpose is clear, that will give you the commitment, so that even if other things come and try to sway you, you stay on course. Now it is possible to save. I've met people who have saved, and out of their saving, they have done the things which other people use borrowed money to do. So really, at the end of the day, it's your choice. At the end of the day, it is your specific circumstance.
Some people have called a mortgage is the most important loan that anyone can ever get. What does that even mean?
Are those people borrowers or bankers?
Why? Bankers will always brand it as the most important.
Yeah, of course, as a banker, you want to sell, I mean, you want to sell your product. You want to make some money. I don't know. I think in our environment in Uganda, the mortgage, actually, when you look at borrowing, the highest amount of borrowing, the last time I checked, I think about 67% of loans from formal institutions like banks are really consumption loans. You know, somebody is borrowing to pay rent, borrowing to pay fees, borrowing maybe to buy a car. Mortgage is still very small.
Yes.
And probably, you know, there are a number of factors. We grow up knowing that, I mean, for some of us who are privileged to grow up in the village, when you want a house, you know, you get your friends around and you draw that circle and you make your bricks.
Yes.
Maybe your sisters, your aunties will help you to get the grass and you build your house. You know, so I think psychologically or culturally, the idea of borrowing to build is still not commonly taken in our community.
Right.
Yes.
We are still in the let me save my money and do my thing.
Yes.
Most, especially people in the corporate world, many of them are servicing car loans. And you know, financial advisors have told us that's very dangerous. You shouldn't be doing that.
Yes.
You shouldn't borrow to buy a car. Are there assets where, you know, this is a must, like when it comes to this particular thing, let me borrow. I don't have to save because the money may never come.
Yeah.
Are there assets where you advise that for these ones, I think it's crucial that you borrow?
Yeah, certainly. The best way that you can use borrowed funds is to put it in something that will generate income.
Yeah.
So even going back to cars and mortgages, take a mortgage to put up rentals, and you've worked out the figures that when I start getting my rental income, it can service this mortgage and probably leave me something, a balance to spend for whatever or do further developments.
Right.
Now that's more sensible than taking a mortgage for your dream house.
Okay.
Yes, because there the money is sunk, it's not coming back. And then you have to look elsewhere for the money to service the mortgage. And you know, for the dream house, there's always something more you want to add to it.
Yes.
Yes.
You're always making
yes, so you're spending more and more on it. So take a mortgage, maybe to put up your rental. But again, you don't take a mortgage right from the foundation. You take a mortgage when probably you've put the structure, you've roofed, but now you need to finish. Tenants are beginning to ask, how much is the rent? When will this property be ready? Some are already putting maybe a deposit for 3 months. You know, so there you are sure of the cash flow.
Right.
Yes, to service the loan. Again, for the car, if you are in transport business, probably it makes sense to borrow money.
Because the money is going to come back.
Yes, yes. But you see Brian driving, I don't know what's the car, which is the craze now. Yeah? Okay, the ladies like their Vitz, okay? So you want to buy your Vitz. Yes. And interestingly, it might actually cost a lot more than the Realm. It probably is costing 20 million shillings, so you've taken, you know, you've saved 3 million or 5 million and you've borrowed 15. You take that car out, a lousy driver bashes it.
And it goes back to zero.
Yes, but again, how is that car helping you to earn income to service the loan?
That's very good.
Yes.
When does a financial advisor come in then?
Well, Brian, maybe let's do a comparison. When do you need to see a doctor?
When I'm sick.
When you are sick, but also you need to see a doctor just for medical checkup. You know, you're not, there's nothing wrong, you know, you stretch, you're okay, you sleep well, but do the checkup, you know, let them knock your chest, stick out your tongue, you know, check is your teeth okay, and all that. So there's also the prevention bit, and then there's the curative bit. So now, if you are sick, or let me say you have a health need, you go to see a doctor. If you have a legal need, you go to see a lawyer.
Yes.
If you have a money need, you go to see a financial advisor.
Well, James Abola, find him on Amber House, B209, second floor, office B209.
Thank you, yes.
You can go there and get some of the legal stuff. You can also email
No, financial stuff, not legal stuff.
Sorry, financial. james.abola@akamaiglobal.co.uk. We'll be sharing some of this stuff on our Facebook page and Twitter. And you can go and make sure that your money works for you, not you working for the money. Starting by is Isma. Good morning, Isma.
Good morning. And I know sometimes it feels like your bank account has 2 ATM cards and multiple passwords, but Arsenal hope they carry their password to the Wembley come May 17th with their financial advisors. They seek to win the first trophy in 9 years. Atletico Madrid are doing the business in the La Liga. They could be champions for the first time since 1996. We talk about Baba Watson. He's wearing the green jacket this morning. And unfortunately, my friend Robert Seguia did collapse on Saturday. I'll tell you why when we get back from the break.
Well, it's 25 on to 9 o'clock. We'll be back with Mabel, Isma, and I giving you some of the sports update this morning. Stay with us.
Everyday Life was brought to you by...
And we are HTC.
No, it ain't, because this ain't breakfast, it's brunch. Brunch? The rich folks invented it so they wouldn't have to worry about getting up too late for breakfast or too early for lunch, so they call it brunch.
What do we eat if we don't get up till the afternoon? Dinch?
Mr. Deadford, did you hear about that man who fell from the 89th floor of the Empire State Building and lived to tell about it?
No.
Yes, he told the people on the 88th floor, the 87th floor.
Come on, you love it. See how good a piano makes them places look?
Yes, but those are big homes. That's old money, George.
So, the only difference between old money and new money is that the new money crackles more. Which is good because if people can't see you got it, they can hear you got it.
Mikwano gyaffe bana NTV ate naddala mu bannaamu muli gw'emizannyo. Muli gw'ebyemizannyo gukomyewo 2014 ate mutya. Kati ate gukyusiza n'obudde. Gwa musanvu kitungulu gwali gwa mwenda ne mugoberera ntusanyuka kati gubongereddeko wano malya g'ebyemisana awo. Guso tugubatayize gubaleetera ekintu kyonna kalonda erinnawo byemizannyo. Ogwo gw'ebyemizannyo mupya 2014 Isima waali alagira Argentina yenjo mukubira eddiba lye omukwano gujja kukomawo ku muli gw'emizannyo naye kasita kinatuuka eri bano ba Messi okulumba abalenzi baffe ba Thiago Silva awo tewali mukwano omuli gw'ebyemizannyo 2014 President.
Oluvannyuma lwa lutalo abaana bangi batwalibwa abekika era bulala basigadde
abamu bajja ne babakima
era twagende mu Lukola eyo inakasongola mu Buluri twagende mu Butale babalaaro okubuuza omwana oyo mumanyi
nti mukwate obutonde obwekonkome mukwate obutonde bwa Ebola mubuteeke mu nsigo omuzungu ayogedde palamenti muyise bosi basajja
omulembe guno gutuusemu n'abantu n'entondo kati waliwo n'emyaka egy'entondo
waliwo yakiŋŋamba
bamugamba muŋŋambe bulungi kati munkwate empola
dokita buli akwata bayibuli eno ajja kusomera bintu nga ye bw'alowooza. For example, waliwo controversy yaliwo
tobeera mu ssuuti ate ng'oteekamu gganduula
olina kubeerako kimu
kubanga okusomesezza tumaze emyaka 2 tusomesa bannayuganda eddembe lyammwe mulimanyi oluusi n'obusobozi obulina
nakulabira abaganda baagala kabaka
The average age of the international team is under 18. And so
the primary role of Team Uganda is to remain to Division 2.
Probably that's the only thing that can make 1 or 2 rugby fans smile, that the clubs are doing well.
The players haven't put on they haven't wore the game faces. They're not the animals we saw last season, because Ferguson had the same group of players and he did deliver the Holy Grail, which is the title.
on the next episode of La Patrona.
Bino assured me it wasn't Maximiliano Suarez who attacked him that day. Please, let's go to the clinic, Ricardo. No time to waste. Don't look at me with fear, Espino. I'm not here to take revenge on you. There's no need. Alberto was looking very calm until Antonio stood before him. Then he started to panic.
Listen, Patricia, the doctor assured me that a patient in that type of critical condition can become upset over anything. It doesn't mean it was my grandmother's visit.
As soon as you finish testifying against Maximiliano, Macario will give you the rest. Leave this town for good, my dear.
Do you also think my grandmother's a witch?
I just think you shouldn't expect too much help from your grandmother.
La Patrona.
On to 9. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning, Brian.
How are you?
Fine.
So today you've not matched. And someone, but there's still a grey. Someone said that I should start watching you guys.
You're going to cause the wrong thing here because there are too many tabloids. And actually, so recently, there's a tabloid that went daily. I think it's called Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are too many of them.
Yeah.
And,
but I think those people, I saw one over the weekend with Bukenya's name, and I just looking at the headlines, and I thought these people just want to use people's names.
No, that happens, guys. That's why it's called a tabloid. It's okay. It's fine. Now, what they write, you either use it for good or bad. You know, Kim Kardashian used her sex tape for good, and now she's
she's a millionaire.
I want you to think like that.
Yeah, okay.
But welcome back from the weekend.
Yeah.
Let's start with rugby, Isma. The unfancied Crocs winning the Protector Super Series. How did that even happen? 2, is Robert Seguya fine after collapsing?
I want to start with Robert Seguya because no one has served rugby as a player or probably as a coach as Robert Seguya has. He probably coaches 5-6 teams in the league across the divisions in the schools and then up in the division with the Buffaloes. And it was extremely unfortunate when I saw the ambulance rush out of Chad, and I was extremely scared for him. He served the game for about 16 years and he happens to be my good friend, my very, very good friend. We actually interact about so many things. But I think it was a very, very painful Saturday for him because he had a school's final where he coaches Hannah Mixed School and they lost that to Kololo, 11 points to 10, where Hannah missed a penalty in the final minute. And then there came Protectors and Crocs and was coaching the Protectors. And they considered a penalty in the last minute. And also that they considered a penalty and that went in. On one end, they missed a penalty to win, Hannah. And on the other side, the penalty went in and Robert Seguya there, he was being rushed in an ambulance. Extremely unfortunate. But I didn't know he was a soft person because most of the rugby players, the kind of conditioning they go through and knowing the attitude that Robert Seguya is as a person, I didn't know it was that soft that he could collapse because of
it was like a heart attack or something?
I think it just, it was a bit
shock.
unconscious. He couldn't believe because, he had lost 2 games by a combined total of 3 points. And 3 points in rugby is a penalty. So if you're losing one game by 1 and the other by 2, I think it was too much to take for him on one day. But in the end, the Crocs will go in the Bamburi Super Series feeling very, very confident when the Super Series for the region, that is East Africa, do start in 2 weeks' time because I thought they played a good game without for me being brilliant. Ivan Mujiri eventually scoring the winning penalty there to get the Crocs over the line in a game that could have swung either one. The Protectors probably thought they had won because the 2 minutes to the end of the game, they scored a try. And at that point, you felt like they were going to win it because Heathens are the biggest corporation of the Protectors and they don't lose too many games at Chadondo. They've actually lost only 2 in the league in 5 years and actually 1 in the Uganda Cup, one that Cobbs won a few years ago when Joseph Harido kicked that late penalty also that broke Heathens' heart. They don't lose that many. So you thought they were going to take it. Then there comes Ivan Mujiria, not the star we knew, not Simon Wakabi, not Lawrence Wakabi, not a name. A young boy comes and kicks a penalty and there was Seguya collapsing. Seguya, I hope you get well soon, but this was extremely unfortunate seeing in this kind of state.
What happens to Stephen Kiprotich with city marathons? You know, my mom was watching and she said, we didn't see Kiprotich at all. He wasn't among the first, I think, 10 or something.
From the start of the marathon.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and actually many Ugandans, I think, only saw him at the start line because he was standing not too far away from Mofara.
He was supposed to be
right there in the
camera just got...
Yeah.
him by accident.
Somewhere in
because
there.
Because of Mo Farah.
Mo Farah. And I received numerous calls throughout the 2 hours of the race from several people. Actually, someone called me and told me something in Luganda. Mwababere nyanja wetukira mutubulire Kiprotich mwali obanedda. And I imagine where a nyanja wetukira. Lake Victoria is everywhere. It arrives in Kisumu, it arrives in Jinja, it arrives in Gaba. And it is a kind of feeling because Kiprotich barely appeared on the cameras, and many Ugandans who stayed there to watch a race couldn't find it. And I was actually talking to someone who was at Buckingham Palace waiting for him with his Ugandan flag, a Ugandan who lives in the UK. And he also waited for as long as he could, and Kiprotich was nowhere to be seen. But he could only come 12th, and it's because he hasn't performed very well in the city marathons, like you said. Was poor in Paris, finished 6th in London, he's had those kind of finishes, was 12th in New York last year. He hasn't done well in the city marathons. This is the same athlete who is a world and Olympic champion.
Exactly.
But probably when the races go much faster and people want to win money, it's Wilson Kipsang and Stanley Biwott who go and get the business. So Sega Ikebede, like Kipsang who won yesterday.
Yeah.
It was extremely disappointing that Kiprotich didn't have that kind of performance. But I did warn you here last week that when I looked at the field that was going to be in London, I almost thought Kiprotich stood no chance. I'm as disappointed as ever that he couldn't even get into places where I could see him on television. Yeah, top 10 or somewhere. Yeah. Or probably running next to Mo Farah where the cameras were.
At least you ran like for 20 minutes next to Mo Farah.
How did Mo Farah do, by the way?
He came 8th on his marathon debut. Commendable performance, though I think he was really affected. Having collapsed in New York just last month, I don't think Mo Farah did well in the marathon, though the English would love to say since it was his first marathon.
It was his first marathon. And I'm thinking in 1 or 2 years, he's going to dominate that marathon.
Brian, there is the Ethiopian girl, Tineresh Dibaba. She ran her first marathon yesterday too and came 3rd. And I can almost promise you, these Kenyans win the marathons, we'll be here in 2 years' time. We'll be discussing the Baba winning marathon.
Won't Mo Farah head to Kenya to, you bring your enemy closer and run? Like those guys will invest.
But everyone trains in Kenya. Farah, Kiprotich, everyone trains in Kenya. Kipsang, Biwott, Emmanuel Mutai, Geoffrey Mutai, they all train in Kenya. What happens? Kipsang wins.
I'm telling you, it's very Kiprotich. It was very disappointing. Actually, was Mo Farah netukulaba ku camera. But we pray that the next marathon will bring something good for us. Manny Pacquiao got the revenge, of, I think, of his lifetime. Dominant fashion over, Timothy Bradley. What impressed you?
What impressed me most is that Manny Pacquiao fought probably, for me, the most measured fight he's had in his career. An eight-weight division champion. You cannot be saying his most measured fight, but I thought when Bradley came out swinging, and actually for most of the fight, Bradley was looking for that knockout.
Yes.
And Manny Pacquiao, for me, played one of his most intelligent fights to just wear him down and eventually get the points. So unanimous points decision. All the 3 judges scoring in favor.
At some point, you could even see him smiling.
Yeah. He's never too sad. Actually, at some point when he was so dominant, when he beats up on his opponents, he actually asked the referee to stop the fight. The first time he actually fought Bradley back in 2012, when he was pounding Bradley, at some point he told the ref, please, the guy's eyes are swollen, he's bleeding, please, can you do something about it? And the referee didn't do anything, but that was as good as Manny Pacquiao's fought. Not in exactly the way he beat De La Hoya or the way he beat Ricky Hatton, but probably one of his best fights in terms of the measured approach. And we're all looking forward to that fight we haven't had. Floyd Mayweather against Manny Pacquiao. If both men bowed out with that, I think it might just happen. And I hope it's the last fight both fighters have to fight before they retire.
They'll kill each other in that ring.
But Mayweather would beat Pacquiao. With the Pacquiao I saw, with a measured approach, Mayweather does not get involved in a slugfest. Pacquiao went in a slugfest at some point with Bradley, and that favors Mayweather. He's too smart a fighter to lose to people like Pacquiao.
I feel like Mayweather is the junior Tyson. He is that cunning.
Tyson, while cunning, threw a lot more punches and was a lot more attack-minded. Now, Mayweather, like they call him pretty boy, don't touch his face. Don't touch his face.
And he never gets his
never fits his face into any kind of blood.
No.
And you need to be probably
He's such an entertainer.
You need to work in a hotel, because earlier this year I was visiting South Africa, and he threw $100 bills at the waiters and waitresses that served him at that hotel in South Africa. He's that kind of person, flamboyant, hangs with Lil Wayne, hangs with 50 Cent. He's the guy.
Okay, moving on to golf. Who is wearing the green jacket, the Masters green jacket this morning?
Baba Watson, and that's because he won the Masters this morning for the second time in 2 years. And I thought throughout the weekend he played the better golf. Even on day 3 when he was struggling, and I remember watching him on the first 5 holes, went bogey, eagle, bogey, 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 and I thought, okay, he's losing this. Then there came the turnaround, I think, against the 21-year Jordan Spieth, who is a very young American. He's barely played at the Masters in his Masters debut, and could have been actually the youngest champion to win the Masters. And yesterday I sat in that place and I thought, okay, Bob Watson could throw this away. But on that hole number 8 and 9, Spieth was leading by 2 strokes, goes bogey bogey, and then Watson goes birdie birdie. And at that point, that for me where Watson won it. And brilliant, brilliant golfer. Quite a thing. Hits a ball as long as anyone. With his left hand, is as good as anyone you'd want to see. And congratulations, I thought Bob Watson throughout the weekend played the better golf. Even the Bill Haas or Adam Scott who played on day 1, they didn't have the same kind of golf and attitude through Saturday and Sunday. That's the reason Bob Watson is wearing the green jacket this morning.
Right. Now let's talk some real sport.
Yeah. Arsenal.
It's been 9 years. 9, I can't believe it.
Don't count.
It's been a long time.
Okay.
Since we last, won the silverware. We literally struggled through Wigan.
Yeah.
But we took it. Will Hull City pose any challenge?
Probably Arsenal will be feeling like champions, and you could almost tell from the celebration at the end of the game, the Arsenal fans, how it meant, and to everyone on that pitch, what it meant. They know what it means to win a trophy. Probably in 9 years, I've had 9 wedding anniversaries. If I'm not mad, I probably had 9 girlfriends or 13 of them. And it's the kind of time that Arsenal have had waited for this trophy. I don't think they played well on the day, but I think in cup competitions, you don't need to play well. You just need to go and get that result. And probably they've got to thank Lucas Fabianski a lot more. With those 2 penalty saves at the start of the shootout, I think that deflated Wigan at the end, eventually. And Arsenal in the final. Will they win it? Hull City might have 1 or 2 things to say about it, and Hull will take a lot of confidence from the result that Wigan got last year in beating Man City in that final at Wembley. Right. So Arsenal, don't count your eggs before they hatch.
I remember the Birmingham game a few years ago.
Yeah, in the Capital One Cup final.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, more sport. Liverpool, 10 out of 10. I'm telling you, I was a bit sad yesterday when they were talking about the teams now to watch, and those Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool. And I said, oh, really? Man City. Anyway, Liverpool yesterday.
Yeah,
10 out of 10. What is their chance now? Everyone is talking about Liverpool.
It's their title to lose. That's what everyone could say. Because if Liverpool win their remaining 4 games, this is against Norwich, against Chelsea, Crystal Palace and Newcastle. They will be champions for the first time in 24 years. And you could almost tell with the kind of celebration, especially Steven Gerrard, those tears at the end of the game, after Sterling, Martin Scato and Felipe Coutinho got those goals, even if City had come back from
City
2-0 down.
Did well.
Yeah, did well to come back from 2-0 down and draw the game at 2-2. You thought, even at 2-2, you thought the next goal was going to be City's.
Another beautiful winner.
Yeah. From Felipe Coutinho.
Yeah,
and I think for me, and Liverpool didn't play at all in the second half. Probably this is a mark of teams that win the championship. You win games when you don't play well. And that's what Liverpool did yesterday. They won a game in the second half where they were on the back foot. Probably they had Vincent Kompany wearing red in that moment when he skewed the ball to Felipe Coutinho. But that's the thing that happens when you're going to win the league. Scato handles the ball, and somehow that doesn't count as a penalty, which was a clear penalty because he played volleyball right there. And City will be feeling hard done by that. But on the balance of power on the day, I think Liverpool did enough. And to win 10 games in 10, in any other country, you are the champion.
Yeah.
While Liverpool are not champions, it's going to be a mark of how good Chelsea and City are. Because now, while it's out of their hands, you cannot say Liverpool are champions yet, because even if they've not lost at Anfield, if Chelsea came to Anfield and won, for example, Man City will be in the driving seat. Man City won all their remaining games because they still have those games in hand, those 2 games in hand. But if they won all and Liverpool won all, Liverpool will still win the league title by a point. But it's got to be Liverpool's to lose. Gerrard knows it. Brendan Rodgers knows it. The Kop know it. This is their best chance to win the league in 24 years. And Liverpool can't throw it away.
Right. My producer is really annoying me. If Arsenal win all the games, will we take the title?
No, they could only finish probably 5th.
Can Everton?
They have won 7 in 7. They won a tough one at Sunderland over the weekend, so they are in 4th. Arsenal play tomorrow, and we'll talk about them when they do host West Ham. So Arsenal are quite in a hole there to finish fourth.
And Chelsea also just getting by. I wasn't too happy with that goal that they got. I think Swansea were great, despite being 10 men.
Yeah, I thought they were great, Swansea, on the day, but they just didn't have enough to win the game, especially when they went the man down. They were too defensive, and that's what you expect from teams like this. But probably for teams like Chelsea, they pride on winning games with this kind of grit, and that's what Jose Mourinho loves. Yeah, it's a kind of week that Demba Ba would dream of, the kind of week that Jose Mourinho would love, because they're within 2 points of Liverpool, and they know they can win at Anfield. Why they do it is a totally different affair, because Liverpool have been brilliant at home. We've only dropped 2 games, and for a team that is now unbeaten in 15, probably Chelsea will go to Anfield knowing Liverpool will be favourites in that. But that was a very big result. I thought Chelsea were under immense pressure after knowing that Liverpool had won, but eventually went and got the 3 points, which was the most important thing for them.
Quick comment. Quick comment. Barcelona.
What
I think in slang would ask WTF.
Yeah.
Then where has Dortmund been all this time?
First of all, I would love to say in the La Liga, probably the best thing to happen to football this year is Atletico Madrid winning the league. With 5 games to play, if Atletico win 4, even if they lost the other, they will be champions because they have a better head-to-head on Real Madrid. And Barcelona losing the way they were, I thought at Granada they were in speed. The way they played wasn't the old Barcelona. And I'm starting to feel like it's surely the end of an era for Barcelona. It's starting to feel like that. And probably everyone would love to see Atletico win the league title. Yeah. They got Diego Costa hurt yesterday when they were beating up on Getafe by 2-0. He actually, if you look at the pictures, his shin is ruptured. And there's a lot of blood oozing out of it last night. But you've got to look, it's got to be a good thing for football. If any team won the league in Spain, we are sort of Real Madrid and Barcelona. But this is still, there's still a long way to go. Yeah. Like I say, it's in Atletico Madrid's hands like it is in Liverpool's hands. They win 4 out of 5, they are champions. Can they do it? Diego Simeone has shown me enough that they could go on, and even without Diego Costa. Now, when you talk about Dortmund, they went to Allianz Arena on Saturday and won by 3-0. And this is as good as Dortmund have played in the years when they won 2 successive German Bundesliga titles. Yeah. And I thought, okay, if this was a title decider, what kind of Bayern would show up? Because this was a game, because Bayern had already won the league. Exactly. Their closest rivals, Dortmund, they were not in the same kind of wavelength. Dortmund want their pride, Bayern know they are champions. And Bayern probably are preparing to go and play Kaiserslautern in the German Cup. That's on Wednesday. And then they know they have to play Real Madrid next week. So they probably switched off. That's why they've lost 2 in a row. But if this is the kind of result that the German Bundesliga wanted for some time, Dortmund to go and be competitive. One thing I know about Dortmund is that in that one-off game, like we saw at the start of Pep Guardiola's career at Bayern, they go and beat Bayern. They beat Bayern at the start of Guardiola when Guardiola just came in 4-2. Now, where they can do it consistently against Gladbach, against Augsburg, against Frankfurt, against Freiburg, that's something Dortmund have not done this one. But that kind of result, for me, reminds me of everything we all loved about seeing those yellow boys run in the years when they're beating Bayern.
Right. Well, catch Ismail Mansi and Alan late at 1:30 p.m. For more of this. And, of course, tonight from Club Silk, we'll be having Sports Bar. And make sure you get all the latest as far as sports is concerned. Now, before we go, your African proverb. Now, Marunga Dora this morning suggesting the African proverb. Remember, we told you any African proverb that you have, please let us know so that we share it. And you can also, we don't have all the answers, so let us talk about this. Our African proverb today is the quietness of a sheep does not stop it from knocking.
What kind of quietness? When it's walking or when...
And I hear it's a Rutoro proverb.
Have you ever found a quiet sheep? Have you ever? They are noisy. They are quite noisy.
Well, let's check out what you say. Bahati Benya Grant says, being holy does not mean you are good. Okay. The behavior of a person cannot be determined by the outer color.
Okay.
True.
Hello heavens, bane mwandika amanyama tufu teka kose bagala. Never judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
Faith Nasaka. No matter how simple or easy and quiet somebody is, he or she can be dangerous the other side. Wugol says, what you do for yourself dies with you, and what you do for others lives forever.
Okay.
All right. Another person, of course, saying never judge a book by its cover. Solomon Collins saying never to draw your own conclusions against humble or quiet people.
But Brian,
that's true. I think sheep are calm.
Yeah. Yeah, but probably while we check African proverbs from the viewers, we should actually warn people not to translate them from other languages, because there's one I've had in Luganda, and I saw it on our Facebook page this morning, about bw'oba toyagala mukira gwa nkima kukoonako teweetaba mu mazina ga nkima. Now, this person went and translated to English that if you don't get involved in a monkey dance, if you want the monkey tail to touch you. But I've never had it in English. I've had it in Luganda, and so probably.
What is wrong with that if you translate it into English?
Let's leave that in their original.
Probably you better send it in Luganda, and we'll actually deal with it.
So what does it mean?
If you don't get involved in something, if you're not ready for the consequences.
Exactly.
Don't get involved in a monkey dance. If you don't want the monkey tail to touch
about the sheep. The sheep.
The sheep has no tail, so there is no dancing there.
The sheep.
But I think sheep are actually calm animals, and it's surprising that they can knock, but I guess they can at some point. So
they still communicate without being too loud. Yeah.
All right. So that's it this morning. Really, some of you are saying means don't settle for face value, as in appearances can be deceitful. That's very, very powerful. Yes, do not take anything by face value. And today, make sure, you get to know the person more than just the out. Yeah, some people also look at us and say, hey, guy, you're not smiling. And when you get serious, you're like, hey, guy, you go. And like, yeah, get to know the person and know beyond all the stuff that is on the exterior. We are privileged to be with you this morning, and yes, we'll be right back tomorrow for yet another exciting edition of Morning at NTV. Head over to our Facebook page, Morning at NTV, and of course, feel free to let us know if you want magical moments. Make a date with us tomorrow morning. We'll guarantee you that your morning will be awesome. From Isma, Mabel, what shoe are you wearing today?
Red.
Red shoe. Kasiata and Joel, have a blessed day. Hasta la vista, baby.
NTV, turning on your world.
12 beautiful girls all looking for love, and we guarantee that each one of them will go out on a date. But will it work out? Only time will tell as we follow their magical dating experience on Be My Date. Your personality will matter, and The Bachelor has to be screened by all these ladies. We're going to have fun as we find love on Be My Date. And whoever said finding love was hard, on Be My Date, we will break the rule. Finding love is going to be an interesting experience that you all want to be a part of. Be My Date is a brand new dating show that is a must watch on the station that turns on your world. My name is Anissa Fabiola, and I'll be your host.
To find a date, visit our Facebook page and inbox us your details. Be My Date, dating made easier. Coming soon on NTV. On the next episode of
Prince of the Ring. And there you go, like you said, cocky as you like. A great shot, Mr. Mikresnik.
Well, Hesty Gogs is stepping up the pace a little bit, trying to get closer. I think trying to get closer just to work those low kicks and long knees. Mikresnik trying to keep his distance.
Great right hook there